Hi, I'm Rick Lobdell. Welcome to another episode of the Concrete Mystique podcast. I want to thank Surfcoat for sponsoring this show. Go to surfcoat.com for all their great products. Follow me on all social media platforms. Today, I have my great friend Ryan Klacking with me. We are at the annual ASCC conference talking about the benefits of being a member of the organization. Welcome to another episode of the Concrete Mystique podcast. We are live at the ASCC conference in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I'm here with my special guest, Mr. Ryan Klacking. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Rick.
Absolutely, man. So now, how long have we known each other now?
10 years, I'd say.
Has it been that long? I guess it has, because I keep forgetting how many times we've been in the same room, but we didn't really talk for a couple years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how many parties we hung out with Scott, but you were on one side talking to your group, and I was on my side talking to my group. We really didn't start talking, though, till 3-4 years ago.
3-4 years ago, yeah.
And then, of course, we finally got to go golfing together, and that changed everything, because now you know I can actually golf better than you, so that helps a lot.
I'd watch those words. It's a little offensive, but yeah, I think that's the wonderful part of some of these organizations is you come and you see people, it gets repetitive, you might not know somebody, you might not approach somebody, but in the end, over time, you end up building relationships with many that you might not have before.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how long have you been a member of ASCC?
I was a member of the CPAA. So basically that started approximately over 10 years ago, and then that was taken over.
That's right. I forgot about that whole thing.
ASCC.
You know, the interesting thing about that
beginning.
moment, too, was when we were in our DCC meetings, we were always talking about if only we had a polishing council here to talk about floor flatness and floor level. And you know, there was always that argument of the polish guys expect too much, the concrete guys expect too much. If we were only in the same room together, we could do so much more. And then the next thing you know, the CPAA becomes the CPC. And right away, it was like explosive in a positive way of all the stuff that was happening between both sides of the industry, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
I thought it was amazing.
It was a great transition. The ASCC is a well-established organization. CPAA realized that it needed a lot of funds behind it to actually start to get things done. So once it transitioned, a lot of people joined. A lot of efforts were put in, and we started making movements right away.
Yeah, I mean, we would go to your meetings, and it was standing room only.
Yeah.
You know, everybody else is like, what, there's a DCC meeting? When? You know, but when you guys were doing your thing, it's like everybody wants to see what we're talking about and what's going on. I think that's pretty amazing, especially as new as you were to the organization, maybe because it was something new, but I think it was about how much everybody cared about the big picture, because, you know, the one thing about ASCC is most of the people here are pouring massive, you know, polishing massive. It's not, they're not all like me doing little tiny commercial or residential jobs and every once in a while doing a commercial job. You know, I'm a residential guy. It's completely different for me being here than it is for you, I'm sure.
Well, that's the value of the organization.
Absolutely.
You have multiple facets of companies and entities and leaders that, from large, mid to small contractors and various suppliers, manufacturers. So it's a really good organization to combine all those different ideas.
Well, the one thing too is
see what solutions fit all those different gaps.
Absolutely, and you come to all the different the committees. You're not just here saying, "Hey, I'm part of the polishing world, and that's all I'm going to do." You're coming to the DCC meeting. You're vocal at every single committee meeting. It's different to see people like you getting involved with every aspect of this organization and not just going, "Well, I'm here for polish only, and that's all I'm ever going to do."
Right. I think a lot of our members don't. So I always get asked, what is the value of becoming a member of the ASCC? And a lot of our membership in the CPC, they just come to those meetings, so that they might not even know what other value is being presented in all these other committees. So it's been enlightening to go to all the committee meetings to understand what are they talking about? Where's the overlap? Is there any gaps that we can bridge together? More importantly, is there no duplication of efforts? Because a lot of committees have some of the similar issues, maybe in a different perspective, but there's a lot of similar issues going on in the industry that we're both trying to solve in different means and methods. So going to all those different committees has been very valuable. And I actually shared my experience during this committee meeting about all the content of all those other committees to try to see if we could drive more traffic to them
That's awesome.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was interesting when you even pointed out like that the education committee was already doing some of the stuff we were talking about.
Right.
None of us even knew that because we didn't go to that meeting either. We're just as bad as I typically just go to the DCC.
Right.
So I'm no different. I started going to emerging leaders this year, and I've been here for 12 years, and I've gone to emerging leaders like twice.
There's a lot of synchronization in the industry, even at ACI. So there's a big partnership between the ASCC and ACI, and at ACI, we're working on a lot more formalized specifications that are getting published and used by architects, designers, engineers. But the ASCC has a partnership that ACI even recognizes some of their documents immediately and embraces those to be put into spec. And there's a lot that goes in between the two. But when you really look at the industry as a whole, we all just are part of the pieces of the puzzle, right? We all are related at some sort of facet in this construction world of concrete. So going to all these committee meetings and meeting all the other leaders in different, whether they're a placement contractor, decorative contractor, polishing contractor, or repair contractor, it's kind of just the same circle, but a different piece of the pie.
Absolutely.
So the more you understand about the full circle aspects, I think the better off you could be.
Well, one of the things that excited me about being here back in the beginning was the opportunity, similar to you guys, where I want to talk to the concrete guys and let them know, look, you're pouring my canvas. You don't even know I'm coming back in. Most of the times on your projects, they know that you're coming in behind them and you're having that pre-construction conversation about the big picture.
Yeah.
For me, no. I have no idea. They have no idea if I'm coming behind them ever, let alone sometimes I'm coming into a job 30 years later.
Right.
It could be 30 days, it could be 30 years. You never know. And you don't know the history of the floor that you're doing. So I love being here talking to these concrete guys going, hey, I need you to understand what you're doing to me, or good and bad.
Sure.
Please don't do a cure and seal. I know you guys are dying to do it, but it really affects what I do.
Right.
It'd be a lot better if you just let the concrete dry out the way it's supposed to and let it be so that I can come in and make it look beautiful. And having that debate with them all the time, I think is exciting. Sometimes I annoy the crap out of them with it because I'm this crazy artist complaining about cure and seals. But it's extremely important to me because you just have no idea what's happening to your concrete after you're done and you walk away from that project. And it's cool to have people in different facets of the industry here to explain that.
Sure. And another value of that being in these organizations is there's similarity in problems that are occurring in the industry. And as an organization, we're able to develop documents like best practices and position statements that essentially can help resolve some of those industry-wide or give the contractor some sort of third-party documentation of an opinion that they can use with their customers to help mitigate some of those issues.
So to that to that point, because that's when you guys are on job sites, or whether it's, well, we'll start with the pre-construction. When you're on a pre-construction job site, how often do you have to bring up documents from ASCC to make your point?
It depends on the specifications. So it depends on the specification gaps. Basically, best practices is to review your specifications, and as a contractor, if you understand the anomalies of what essentially is missing or what could cause you additional costs or could affect your overall job, you look for those gaps in those specifications, have a pre-con, and then you can pull up ACC documentation on, hey, this is the best practice and this is what the expectation is to fill those gaps, and they can become very resourceful. Yesterday in the CPC meeting, there was a contractor that said they always use documentations from the ASCC in
That's
presenting
awesome.
their case. So it seems a lot of traffic is to our technical documents. So, and we're always looking for more content or issues that are out in the industry that we can
make
solve.
more documents.
So yesterday we came up with 6 or 8 best practice categories that we're going to write, but we're always looking for the industry to provide us the issues to solve, as well as we're just sitting as a conglomerate with experience in our organization. We're solving problems, but there's a hotline here that you can call in, and we use that hotline actually to identify some consistency in problems. Actually,
Have you ever used the forum also, or you prefer the hotline?
I have not used the forum, but I see the forum. You have to register to see that forum apparently and get all the content that's flowing.
Oh, I just assumed, yeah, I've
So,
always had it.
Yeah, so
That's one of my favorite aspects. Like I was talking earlier with another guy that I never, 95% of the forum has nothing to do with me, but I'm learning so much more at looking at the question and watching all the feedback.
Yes.
Because you see every single email. So you get to follow it and you get to learn more. And sometimes there's 10 different options for answers. Sometimes you have 10 people saying the exact same thing.
Right.
But it's a nice little added bonus to it also.
It is. You can see everybody jumping in on the answers.
Oh, and they do.
And you have, I mean, contractors, large to small, everybody seems to have resolutions.
It's an
and
interesting
ideas to
team
fix
effort to help people that you would never have seen coming.
You would never see it. Yeah.
So from your point of view then, being a member of ASCC, like, what do you think is the most important thing about being a member here?
Number one is going to be your networking. So you'll have access to other
That just means the video
contractors
stopped, is it?
in the industry from different areas of the industry. So networking would definitely be number one, is the ability to connect with all the associates that are essentially working in the same realm as you. Different regions, different types of construction, but in the end, everybody in the same industry are networking with them, and that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I think
There's
so
a lot
too.
of leaders here, so and even from a business perspective, even if it's not technical, there's a lot of groups here that you could network with to even discuss business practices. But that would be one. Formalization of documentation and actually see what's happening in the industry is definitely a big one as well. So sitting in all these committee events, you can see what is happening today and now, which is very resourceful for a contractor because you're not on your own. You can see that there is a lot of smart people working on resolutions to fix problems that there is a high awareness for. So that brings a lot of comfort as well as a motivation to help offer and donate your time to help solve problems because there's a lot of people in the same bucket. And really ASCC is all about the contractor. So we're an organization to protect contractors. So basically when we know there's problems, we try to create resolutions.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing to be a part of.
No, absolutely. And then we can grow from there with the new changes we make because it sometimes feels like it's a very slow, if you're here for a fair amount of time, it sometimes feels like it's a slow transition of thought process and moving forward with changes that need to happen. But then when you look back, you go, man, we've done a lot in the last 10 years.
Right.
We really have.
Yeah, we get that all the time. And for us, we think like we're not getting enough done.
Right.
And then you have the outside even like the DCC is a much more historic, older organization than the CPC. So even yesterday, it's so impressive of how much work you're getting done. And on our end, we think we're not moving fast enough.
We feel like it all the time, too.
But this organization produces a lot of work very quickly compared to some other associations and groups. So that's another thing. If there's things that need to be done fast, this is the place to be.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate we get to do
fun.
this. I told you it'd be fun. It wouldn't be that bad.
No, it was a good time.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody have a good day. We'll talk
take care.
later.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Concrete Mystique, the podcast. Go to ascconline.org to find out more about all the benefits you can get by becoming a member. A big thanks to Surfcoat for sponsoring this show. Check out surfcoat.com for all their great products. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and have a great day.